Hi there, and welcome to today's episode in the Healthy Hormones Happy You series. And today I'm talking to the lovely Sasha Rae, who has become a friend of mine. And Sasha and her partner Matt have a fantastic online health platform called lifetrainme.com. And I actually have a video series on there, which is all about using Chinese medicine to naturally boost your fertility, because that's exactly what I do, which is help women to balance their hormones, get fertile, get pregnant, and get through menopause without completely losing their mind. So, and I was lucky enough to be introduced to Sasha and Matt. Probably is coming up for like 18 months ago, I think, maybe 2 years. Yeah, and so I recorded my series last year, and they've got a whole host of other people on there who are talking about all sorts of fascinating things like fermenting, raw food cooking, yoga, mindfulness, aromatherapy. So I will drop the links on how to check that out, because you can get free access for 30 days when you sign up. So it's well worth having a look at. And today I'm going to be talking to Sasha about her experience of cystic acne, which plagued the poor girl throughout her teens and her 20s. And I know you're going to explain to us exactly sort of what happened and how you ended up dealing with it. So welcome, Sasha. So nice to see you. And do you want to just start by telling us a bit about when it all began and what it was like for you?
So obviously going into your teenage years, you sort of expect acne to come. So when acne arrived, I was just kind of told, oh, don't worry about it. You'll grow out of it. You'll grow out of it. You'll grow out of it. And the years went by and I still hadn't grown out of it. It was still very much on my face, and it was just affecting my confidence on a level that I think I didn't even understand at the time, like to the point where I wouldn't want to look people in the eye, because I was under the assumption that if I looked them in the eye, then they could see my face more clearly. So I would just like turn away from people. And it's just, that wasn't me. That wasn't the true expression of me. But unfortunately, the situation that I was in was causing me to act in a certain way. And it happened for so many years that it just knocked my confidence so much. And I mean, I just remember being in class at school and picking a desk that wasn't directly under a light. Like I would literally go into a room and assess where the lights were, and then stand in like a darker place so that people couldn't see my face. And it was just living with that every single day. I hated being in sunlight. Direct sunlight was awful, because I was like, oh my gosh, you can see everything. And the school I was at, you weren't allowed to wear makeup. So it was just I used to get in trouble constantly because I was always sneaking a bit of foundation on.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, and I used to get in trouble all the time, but I just used to take it because I thought, you know what, I'd rather feel more confident. So that's what I used to do. I'm sure my teachers hated me, but you know, you do you. And that's sort of what I grew up with throughout my teens. And then it just continued. It just kept going into my 20s. It only stopped, and I use this loosely because I know now that I wasn't actually addressing the root cause, but it stopped when I went on the pill, because that obviously gave me synthetic hormones, and that sort of helped to balance it out. But it didn't get to the root cause, and that's what I then went on this journey of natural medicine. So I'm studying to become a doctor in natural medicine, and I'll qualify next year. But what sort of sparked this journey was, why has this acne been so persistent for so long? And me using the pill was just putting a plaster over it. It wasn't actually getting to that root cause and actually resolving the problem of this deep hormonal imbalance that I had, that I just did not understand nor was fully aware of, because I just kept, I can't tell you how much I tried, like every product you could possibly imagine, just everything. But at the end of the day, it was my internal orchestra that was out of sync. So I needed to fine tune it, sync it up. And that's what I did. Came off the pill because I knew from the research that I'd done that it wasn't the right thing for me, just because I wanted a more natural lifestyle. so I came off the pill, and then lo and behold, the acne flared up again. And this was, I think, when I was about 21. And obviously at 21, at university, final year, and you've got this raging acne back again. It was like these flashbacks to when I was a teenager, thinking, like, my confidence is going again. I just went straight back into that mindset of finding dark spots in the room again, and it was just awful.
Did you have it anywhere else, or was it just on your face?
Just my face. Oh. Just right here. Yeah. Right in full view. It was I know obviously people suffer with lots of different areas of the body, but for me it was just all concentrated here. Yeah. So yeah, and then that's when I discovered the small natural way, and that's how I got rid of it once and for all.
Yeah. So in all that time, because I know you tried lots of things, as you've just said, so was that a mixture of natural and alternative, or was it just like topical creams, and were you trying to adjust your diet or get more sleep, or did you notice there was anything that triggered it? Like, did you have flare-ups when you were stressed, or when you were due your period, or anything like that, or was it just literally there all the time?
It felt like, to me at the time, it felt like it was just there constantly. I don't think I was in that frame of mind to see, oh, actually it's got a bit better this week. I wasn't there, because even just, I mean, it just got to a point where it was so bad that to me, it was like, okay, so I've got one less spot. I've still got 5 million on my face. So what, I just wanted it done. And in terms of the different modes that I'd used at that point in my life, I was not down this natural road at all. So I was actually on antibiotics for a long time with it, which I was on antibiotics for my acne for 2 years. And I only found out, because I just had a repeat prescription that my GP had given me. And it wasn't until I went in for just like a general checkup that a new GP that came in said, you should only be on this antibiotic for a course of 8 weeks. And I was on it for 2 years.
Oh my God.
And no one had said anything to me. And now I cringe, because I realized the imbalance in my gut that would have caused, and that was just perpetuating the cycle, because I was depriving my body of all the good bacteria. And it was just, I tried everything. We've got a good family friend who's a dermatologist, so I tried all the lotions and potions you can possibly imagine. And literally, when I say nothing seemed to work, that is the biggest understatement of the year. Just everything nothing seemed to fix it. I didn't get any relief from it. Like I said, unless I was on the pill or was on these antibiotics, and I didn't want either of those things when I found this more natural way of living. So it wasn't until I came across the alkaline diet that I thought, do you know what? I'm at my wit's end with this. I'll give it a go. And I wanted a natural solution to it. So I just dived in with both feet and just thought, do you know what? I'll just completely commit to this and see what happens, because what have I got to lose? So I did. And I went completely, I didn't even ease myself into it. Just went cold turkey. I thought, you know what? If I'm going to do it, I may as well just commit. Yeah. So completely cold turkey.
Now, just for people watching, what Sasha's talking about, to start with, when she's on those antibiotics for all that time, this affects what's called your microbiome, which is the balance of bacteria in your gut. And some studies say that up to 90% of all diseases and conditions can be traced in some way back to the health of the gut. So it's also affected by things like poor diet, stress, not enough sleep, too many toxins and medications, including antibiotics. And then when this bacteria gets out of balance, you can end up with all sorts of things like skin problems, painful joints, you might have digestive issues, you might have anxiety or depression. And of course for you, that was all kind of caught up in it. And so, you know, after 2 years of being on that stuff, the antibiotics, like your whole healthy gut flora would have been completely nuked and compromised immunity. And that means your skin is not going to be able to look nice and be its best, because it's struggling, your whole body's struggling for the nutrients and stuff that it needs. And the reason that alkaline diets are, I don't call it a diet really, it's more like just a kind of way of eating, isn't it? Which, yeah, it's sort of plant-based, because unfortunately everything that we typically eat in our Western diet is acid forming, but our blood actually wants to be slightly alkaline all the time. So we've got to sort of offset this acidity by eating alkaline foods. And you can explain to us a bit more about how you did that, because I've studied alkalizing nutrition, so I have a diploma in that. So it's something quite close to my heart, because it's something that I really talk to all my clients about, because it has such a big impact on people's well-being. So
it does. It's amazing. I think it's difficult, because I actually spoke to my friend fairly recently about trying out the alkaline diet. When I explained what it was, there's this sort of like gasp of air and thinking, oh my god, can I commit to that? Because it sounds really like drastic when you say, okay, well, I'm not going to eat bread, I'm not going to eat potatoes, I'm only going to have like sweet potatoes. And obviously it's more complex than that, because as you know, there's different there's an alkaline scale, there's a pH scale, so some things will be further along the scale than others. So it depends how strictly you want to do it and how far along that alkalinity scale you want to be at. But for me, I was trying to solve a problem. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go completely alkaline, which is basically anything green. You can eat that. So I ate so much greens, so much salads. I cut out sugar completely, so that included refined sugars. It also included a lot of fruit as well. So I only ate apples, berries and cherries, because apparently they're the only alkalizing fruits that there are. But again, that seems quite extreme, because it's like, oh, but fruit's really good for you. And but for me, and I just did what I thought would work well for me at the time. I just thought, I'm just going to commit to this for a short period of time, and then you can introduce other things as you go along. But for 3 months, I did basically anything green and apples, berries and cherries. And that's all I did for 3 months. And the improvement in my skin was amazing. Like, I had not seen my skin look that good, as in off anything, off the pill, off antibiotics, off all the chemical concoctions that they'd given me. Just naturally, as I am, I had never seen my skin look that good. And it just felt so empowering that through my lifestyle choices, I could decide how I wanted to look and feel, as well as the most important thing is just the energy levels that I had. I was living in Edinburgh at the time, so it was actually winter when I did it, which now in hindsight, I wouldn't recommend doing it in winter, just because of how close we are to the seasons, how in sync we are with that. I think having so much juice and green, like really should be having warming foods in the winter. But
well, you could be having things like spinach and watercress soup and stuff like that, you know, the sort of nourishing soups and stews and things that are made with alkaline foods. I've got a chart that lists the pH value of many common foods, which I'm happy to share with anybody watching. If just you can comment below where this posted, and I'll send it out, because it is handy. And some things are a bit surprising, because people always think something like lemon, for instance, is acid because it's got that tart citrus taste, but actually lemons are very alkalizing, which is why it's recommended to have lemon in warm water in the morning, just to kind of detox your liver and get your system going. So, you know, it's the advice to eat green things is spot on, but then there's other things that you won't be able to tell just by looking at them or tasting them, whether they would be alkaline or acidic. So you're in Edinburgh, and you've done this whole thing, and your skin looks great. And so have you maintained that level of sort of extremity, if you like?
No, I haven't, because like I said, I went really like hardcore with it, cold turkey, let's just go for it. But now I definitely am much more, I eat more seasonally now. So if something is growing right now, then I'll try and eat it. And I always say try, because it's very difficult to eat purely seasonally, because obviously as you get into the cooler months, you're kind of limited to basically just some turnips and some
root
sweets.
vegetables.
So it is difficult, and it's always a learning journey, but I definitely incorporate the alkaline lifestyle into my diet to this day, because it literally changed the way that I think about it just changed the way that I look at my body, because that was the first time that I felt so empowered that I was able to take control of it, and I was able to sort out my skin problem. And it just felt amazing. And that sparked a whole journey of life train me, of studying to become a doctor in natural medicine, of just everything. I was a yoga teacher as well. It just literally was the starting point for me to just think, oh gosh, if I can do that to my skin, what else can I do? What other organs? The skin's the biggest organ of the body. What other organs are perhaps out of balance that I can't physically see? The skin, you can see it. Whereas what about the rest of my body? And I was just delving into so much research, and that sparked my journey. So it completely changed my life. So I definitely do. I still have my lemon water in the morning. And always have a warm lemon water as well, rather than it cool. So there's so many. It was amazing, and it did so much for me. So, and I just want to say as well, in terms of you giving that guide of the foods, guys, get it. If you're even thinking about the alkaline diet, get somebody to send it to you, because that's the biggest thing. Is when you first started it, I was thinking, oh God, can I eat that? Can't I eat that? And you don't want to feel like you're doing it wrong. You want to feel empowered by it. So say, yeah, I know I can eat spinach, and I'm going to enjoy this spinach, and really like take ownership of it, because it'll just really help you see it through, and have it be a part of your lifestyle for the rest of your life, like it has done for me. It's amazing.
Yeah, and also because you have a beautiful little girl, and I'm sure that you want, I have a son, he's 6 now, just turned 6, and as parents we want to role model to our kids how to be healthy and how to take care of ourselves. I want nothing more than for my son to be physically healthy, but also emotionally to have confidence and high self-esteem, and to feel good about himself. And if in years to come Aliana ends up with bad skin, you'll be able to know how to help her. But she probably won't, because you'll be bringing her up on the same sort of foods that you're eating, and I think it's just great that you took the plunge and really threw yourself into it, and you've had this great result, because it is I could understand why when people feel that desperate that they just would do anything to, especially like you said, when it's on your face and people are looking at you, and they may not be judging you, but you would feel like they were. And there's been a program on recently called the Bad Skin Clinic, and I've just watched a few episodes of it, and I mean they're extreme. Okay, it's not just acne, it's stuff like people having sort of fatty lumps under the skin, or just sore patches and excessive sweating and stuff like that. But you can really see how it ruins these people's lives. And one of the girls, she did have horrendous acne, so they film her going into the clinic, and then the dermatologist said to her, okay, can you just go and sort of take your makeup off? I mean, her skin, she spent hours every day putting on layers and layers of foundation and concealer that was so thick to cover up this angry looking skin condition. And this girl, you could tell her confidence was absolutely in her boots, and it was just so sad, and she they got her on some kind of treatment, and I think it really helped a lot. But I think, you know, you could understand why somebody might want to just take medication if it promised a cure. But like you said, even taking the pill, I mean, this is one of my big bugbears, that when I get somebody coming to me, especially I've worked with one or two teenagers who've got, you know, irregular cycles that are very long or very painful, and is actually getting in the way of them attending school fully. And always the comment is, well, everybody tells me to put her on the pill, you know, from the mum. And I just think that this is what I'm here for, is to, you know, teach women that when you understand your body and how your hormones work and why they're imbalanced, then you have agency over your own health and your own appearance and your own skin and emotions and everything, energy, sleep. And you don't have to go down that medical route, because like you said, it's the minute you stop taking it, everything's coming rushing back again.
Because it's not dealing with the root of the problem. And I think we have become a society that's so used to that instant gratification. So, I was exactly the same. Oh, the pill fixes it. Oh, antibiotics fixes it. Whatever it was, whatever the next thing was, that's what I went for, because I wanted my skin to be good now.
Yeah.
But actually, if I just taken the moment and said, that's just me putting a plaster on it, that's not me dealing with the problem, then I would have had an acne-free face for much longer, because that's going to last a lifetime. Once you get your hormones in balance, that will last the rest of your life, and you're not going to be constantly on these lotions and potions, because you're in control of it through your lifestyle, through your diet, through your mental state, I mean, there's so many aspects to being healthy, and you know this. It's not just about diet. There's a whole myriad of amazing things that come together. But once you get that, and the nutrition is, I think, the first step to it, because once you've got your nutrition right, then you're able to think straight. To putting it bluntly, the right nutrients are getting into your body, and you're able to think straight. So then all this other stuff falls into place. It's amazing. So taking that first step to say, actually, I want to get to the root cause of this, because I know that's going to last the rest of my life. Like that is the most empowering thing you can do. It's amazing.
Yeah. And actually, again, the health of the gut, I don't know, people watching may not know anything about Chinese medicine, or not much. And so we talk about different meridians or channels. And I've got my my little friend Dottie here, who I like to pull out. So all of these lines with the dots on are basically the meridians, and there's one, each organ has a meridian named after it. And so we're working on a kind of energetic level in Chinese medicine. And basically, if your gut health is poor and your nutrition is poor, then the first system to be affected is your kidney channel, which is in charge of reproduction and fertility and your cycle. So it's the first thing to get knocked out, because all your body's trying to do is keep you alive. It's not, you know, having a baby is not going to be a priority. So when we have a healthy menstrual cycle, by default, we're fertile. So even if you're in a stage of your life where you're like, well, I don't even want to have a baby right now, or I've had all my children, if you've got a disrupted cycle that's not regular and it's painful, or, you know, heavy flow, or your moods are all over the place, it isn't normal. That's a sign of imbalance. And the first place you want to start is getting your gut back on track. And also because, I mean, it's just, everything's connected, isn't it? But they say that 70% of your serotonin is made in the gut, which serotonin is a sort of feel-good neurotransmitter. So you're going to be more prone to anxiety and depression and panic attacks and stuff if you haven't got enough serotonin. And if you don't have enough of it, it's a precursor to melatonin, which is what you need to sleep properly. So, and if you don't sleep properly, then your blood sugar and your insulin goes out, and you have too much cortisol going around, and that could lead you to diabetes and thyroid problems. It's like people.
I know. And
get on top of your diet.
like things like gut cleanses are things that I feel like they're so in vogue at the moment. Like, oh, let's do a gut cleanse, and like they're so like everyone's doing them, and it's a thing. And I think that is amazing, but I think understanding why you're doing it is the most important thing, because I'm all for gut cleanses, but I think, well, I know that 75% of the Western population have something called candida without even realizing it. And candida is a growth in the gut, which means that the body it prevents the body from absorbing the nutrients from your food. So if you don't first deal with potential issues that might be in the gut, preventing the nutrients from coming in, i.e. doing a gut cleanse. So instead of just doing it for maybe the aesthetics, which I know I'm one to talk because I was so obsessed with my skin and my acne, but it's true. Maybe having that greater purpose will help you stick through it and think, okay, I'm potentially sorting out some imbalances in the gut. So now everything's free to, all the good and bad bacteria, you need a healthy balance of both. They're free to move around, absorb all these nutrients, and then your hormones can be in balance, and it's like a knock-on effect. And then you just, like you said, you can sleep better, you have more joy in your life. It's like a domino effect. It's amazing. And we were designed in an amazing way, the fact that we work like that. It's so cool. I genuinely find it fascinating that we were just designed so well. It's amazing, and it blows my mind when the more I read about it, I'm just amazed.
So have you got any simple alkalizing tips or general tips around skin health that you'd like to share with our viewers?
The biggest thing I would say is actually what we've just been talking about, is that the skin's the biggest organ of the body. So remembering that it's an organ, you've got to start from the inside out. Whereas often in this sort of modern world, we're taught to just apply things topically. So keep putting stuff onto the skin and that'll fix the problem. But actually, not all the time, but a lot of the time it starts internally. So that would be my biggest tip, is to look at your diet, look at your nutrition. And also, I think there's a mental health side of skin problems that I was talking about at the beginning of the chat that we had that is often overlooked. And I think just having positive affirmations every day, like I am beautiful, I know that my skin can renew itself every 30 days. So who's to say that next month I can't have perfect skin? And just I used to say that to myself in the mirror every single day, because I just felt so, like I said, not myself. I felt I lacked confidence, and
so when you started the 3-month intensive thing, how long did it take before your skin cleared up to a point where you were like, I'm really pleased with this, it's looking great?
It's definitely, I'm not good. It wasn't a magic wand moment. Like I didn't meet Tinkerbell and suddenly I had perfect skin. It wasn't like that by any means, but it was noticeable improvements week by week. And then by the time I did it from September to December, and I remember by the time I went home for Christmas, because I was at university at this point, my skin was perfect. And it wasn't until I went home and my family were like, what have you been doing? You look really good. And I'm like, yeah. So I think there is never, I mean, I never saw a specific day where I was like, this is it, this is the day my skin's cleared. I think it's the environment around you. And also because I felt more confident as well. I was kind of giving off that energy, and then therefore, people will notice it more. Like I said, my family were like, gosh, you look really good. What have you been up to? And it's like this cycle, and it's I think just sticking with it, and you will have your moment. It might be 2 weeks, it might be 3 months, it might be a year, but you'll have your moment where you're like, this is it.
And do you think, looking back, that in those, say, teenage years or early 20s, were you using makeup product and beauty products that were actually not good for your skin? Or did you? So
100%. I was using, now I use completely toxin free and chemical free makeup, skincare, face wash, foundation, everything. But back then I was using your usual high street brands. that I now know have xenoestrogens in them, which mimic estrogen, which therefore add to the cycle of you imbalancing your hormones and creating the problem in the first place. So I was literally stuck on a hamster wheel.
Yeah. And I think it's something I go into this in. I have a whole sort of session and focus on toxins and xenoestrogens in my fertility program and my menopause program, because I think we don't, when you're putting on a bit of mascara or a bit of foundation or something, or some body butter, you don't think to yourself, oh, this is causing me to have an irregular cycle or bad skin. You just doesn't seem to link up. But actually what's happening is that, every hormone in the body has got a receptor site. It's like a lock and a key, and the hormone is the lock, and it's floating around looking for the key. But when you take in these xenoestrogens, and they come from things like not just makeup and beauty products, but cleaning products, it's things that are in stuff that treats furniture, it's in paint, it's the carpet, it's in the water, you're breathing stuff in. It's quite depressing really when you think about it, but that's why it's really important to try and minimize all these things, because if those get into your body, they go and dock on your receptor site, and then the actual hormone can't get on there, because it's like playing musical chairs and the seat's already been taken. And that's why you get hormone disruption and imbalance. So it's not to say that if you use a bad product, or sort of a toxic product, that's the thing that's going to tip you over the edge. But cumulatively, all of these things build up. So it's just really important, isn't it, to look at all the parts of your life and see where you can make these little changes that just help you come into a more healthier environment. And
you really do end up going down the rabbit hole with it, because you start off with the diet, you're looking at the alkaline diet, you think, oh my god, this is amazing, and then you go into the skincare. I mean, it only takes 20 seconds to absorb something that you put onto your skin, because the skin's the biggest organ. And I often get, you probably get it too, like, I don't understand how that can't be a thing. I always get that's not a thing. That's not real. But it is. And if you think about it, we accept it in terms of other scenarios. Like, for example, if someone's trying to quit smoking, what do they use? They use a nicotine patch on their arm, because they accept that the nicotine is being absorbed and therefore curbing the smoking craving. So you accept that nicotine can be absorbed in that way. And it's the same thing with our other products. They are also being absorbed and having an impact. And it's an amazing rabbit hole once you jump down it, that's for sure. But just be aware that there's always more to learn, like every single day. And I'm sure you're the same. You learn something new. And I think in the fast-paced modern world that we're in, there is always more to learn, because there's always more stuff for us to be aware of, or and more research coming out as well, of the things in our tap water and in our sprays they put on our carpets and all that kind of stuff. There's so much research coming out every single day, so it's just being aware of that as well.
And I think I would like the viewers to go away with the feeling, not like, oh my god, well, there's no point doing anything because it's just all around us and how can we do it. Like, yes, it can feel a bit overwhelming, but people like me and Sasha, we're studying this stuff day in, day out. We live and breathe it, and so we are as up to date as we can be with the latest studies and research. And there are lots of really simple things you can do to just kind of upgrade your levels of health. And quite simple. Not all of them even cost anything. Some of them are free, some of them are very minimal cost, and in fact probably some people who've been in your sort of situation may have spent hundreds and thousands of pounds on skin treatments and topical products to no avail. So just give the healthy natural route a go. And is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up?
I think we've kind of covered it really. Just buy some spinach instead of some foundation.
Drink some liquid chlorophyll.
Drink some liquid chlorophyll, and maybe do that instead of a new moisturizer. I don't know.
Good advice. And basically feel free to get in touch with me for that pH guide. Obviously I can work with you on your nutrition and all of those things, and hormonal balance. Sasha, I'm sure you're open to anybody contacting you if they'd like to know a bit more. And so I'll put the links of where you can reach us both underneath. And thank you so much for your time. It's really inspirational to see how beautiful and glowing you look now. And
thank you.
so yeah, we'll look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you guys for listening as well. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sasha. Bye.